Hi guys. For our today's agenda is to reminisce some of our old discussion about statistics, and of course I will pick you guys, and for our first topic is probability and sample space. So let's go. What is probability and sample space? Is a set of all possible outcomes in the experiment. Sample space can be written using the curly brackets. Examples: tossing a coin twice and rolling a dice. Tagalog, we're looking for an outcome based on the sample space. But wait, what is sample space? Space. Sample space, all possible outcomes. And for our first example in probability and a sample space is tossing a coin twice. Sample space is the set of all possible outcomes in an experiment. Example 1. Two coins are tossed, represent the sample space for this experiment by making a list, a table, and a tree diagram. First, our sample space are head head, head tails, tails head, and tails tails. But first, how do we know if the possible outcomes are head or tails? But as we all know, if we are tossing a coin, the two possible outcomes are only tails or head. So our possible outcomes are head head. It's either head head, head tails, tails head, and tails tails. So if we put this in a table, this is going to be the answer. As you can see, the red ones, head head, tails tails, head tails, and tails tails. But how about the black ones? As you can see, they are not connected to each other. That's why they are not part of our sample space. Guys, if we are going to put our sample space in our tree diagram, as you can see, our first toss, the answers are head and tails. And for our second toss, as you can see, it just branch out, or the answers are almost the same. And for our final answer, as you can see, the red ones, it just like we add those letters. Example like this one: head head, head tails, tails head, and tails tails. And for this problem, our sample space is head head, head tails, tails head, and tails tails. And that's our first example on our probability and sample space. And now for our second example on our probability and sample space, which is rolling a dice. First, ano nga ba yung silbi ng mga bilog na yan sa bawat parte ng dice? At ano nga ba ang sample space sa dice kapag nagpagulong tayo ng isang dice? Our sample space, if we roll a dice, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which means, yung anim na yan, yung pwede natin maging possible outcomes or pwede natin makuha sagot, depende na lang sa kung anong nasa taas ng dice kapag nagpagulong tayo ng dice. Example, nagpagulong tayo ng isa. Ang nasa taas nito, or ang pinaka nasa tuktok nito, is 3. Yun yung sagot sa isang beses nating pagpapagulong sa dice. But ang importante dito is ano nga ba ang mga pwedeng maging sagot kapag napagulong tayo ng isang dice. And our sample space on our second example, which is rolling a dice, is 6. For our second topic is mean and variance of a discrete random variable by using the table. And variance by discrete random variable. Random variables are described by central tendency, like the mean and the measures of variability. So in this one, guys, I will teach you, or I will show you on how are we going to get the mean and variance by the standard deviation. So guys, this table is given na, so we can easily to know our mean, variance, and standard deviation. So let's go. And now guys, pagkatapos natin kuhanin lahat ng value nila, lahat ng mga sagot per column na yan or per row na yan, ang gagawin naman natin is to get our variance. But paano nga ba? Kailangan lang natin i-add or pag-plusin lahat ng value dito sa pinaka last row natin, tapos makukuha na natin yung variance, which is this one. So let's take a try. 1.0658 plus 0.0529 plus 0.0437 and 0.4032 plus 0.64 and 52 equals 2.2108. As you can see guys, we have 6 columns as of now, but the 2 of them is given, so we can easily to answer the remaining 4 columns, which is these 4. And x and p of x is given, and this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And for the p of x, 0.5, 0.25, 0.15, 0.17, and 0.1. So, but first, this column is the one that we are going to answer first, x times p of x. But how are we going to get the variables or the answers here in this column? This is easy guys. We just have to times or multiply the x and p of x. That's why x times p of x. And now, it's easy either you use calcu or not, because this is small value lamang. First, 0 times 0.5 equals 0. 1 times 0.25 equals 0.25. 2 times 0.15 equals 0.3. 3 times 0.17 equals 0.51. And 4 times 0.1 equals 0.4. Ganyan lang siya kadali guys. We just have to multiply these two variables and or these two columns, so we can have this column or these variables, which is x times p of x. And guys, to have the mean or to get our mean, we have to add all the values in x times p of x, which is this one. We have to add 0 plus 0.25, 0.3, 0.51, and 0.4 equals 1.46. Now for our fourth column, which is x minus mu, we are going to minus x and our mean, like this one. X minus 1.46 equals negative 1.46. 1 minus 1.46 equals negative 0.46. And 2 minus 1.46 equals 0.54. And 3 minus 1.46 equals 1.54. And the last one, 4 minus 1.46 equals 2.54. That's how are we going to get the answers or variables in our fourth column, which is x minus mu. Now for our fifth column, which is x minus mu squared. And as you can see, this is given because there is a square sign, so it means we just only have to square this one. And if we are going to square this one, example, negative 1.46 equals 2.1316. For this one, negative 0.46 equals 0.2116. 0.54 squared, pag in-squared mo, ang magiging sagot niya is 0.2916. And 1.54 squared, ang magiging sagot 2.3716. And for this one, 2.54 pag in-squared mo, 6.4516. Ganyan lang siya kadali. And now for our last column, which is x minus mu squared times p of x, we just have to times the p of x and x minus mu squared, like this one. 0.5 times 2.1316 equals 1.0658. 2.25 times 2.2116 equals 0.0529. 0.15 times 0.2916 equals 0.0437. 0.17 times 2.3716 equals 0.4030. 0.1 times times 6.4516 equals to 0.6452. And now, para naman makuha natin ang ating standard deviation, which is 1.49, we only have to square root our answer on our variance, which is 2.2108. And if we square root our answer on our variance, which is 2.2108, we will get an answer which is 1.4868. But how come our final answer is 1.49? Look at this, and we only have to round up our 1.48 into 1.49. Ganyan lang siya kadali. And now guys, pagkatapos natin kuhanin lahat ng value nila, lahat ng mga sagot per column na yan or per row na yan, ang gagawin naman natin is to get our variance. But paano nga ba? Kailangan lang natin i-add or pag-plusin lahat ng value dito sa pinaka-last row natin, tapos makukuha na natin yung variance, which is this one. So let's take try 1.0658 plus 0.0529 plus 0.0437 and 0.4032 plus 0.64 and 52 equals 2.2108. And now guys, pagkatapos natin kuhanin lahat ng value nila, lahat ng mga sagot per column na yan or per row na yan, ang gagawin naman natin is to get our variance. But paano nga ba? Kailangan lang natin i-add or pag-plusin lahat ng value dito sa pinaka-last row natin, tapos makukuha na natin yung variance, which is this one. So let's take try 1.0658 plus 0.0529 plus 0.0437 and 0.4032 plus 0.64 and 52 equals 2.2108. And now, para naman makuha natin ang ating standard deviation, which is 1.49, we only have to square root our answer on our variance, which is 2.2108. And if we square root our answer on our variance, which is 2.2108, we will get an answer which is 1.4868. But how come our final answer is 1.49? Look at this, and we only have to round up our 1.48 into 1.49. Ganyan lang siya kadali. And now, after we get all the answers in this table, let's take a look back on how did we get our mean, variance, and standard variation. First, for our mean, how did we get 1.46? We just only add our x and px, which is 0.05, 1.025, 2.015, 3.017, and 4.01. And our final answer on our mean is 1.46. How about for our variance? We only added all these outcomes or answers in this table, which is 1.0658 plus 0.0529, 0.0437, and 0.4032, and 0.6452. And now for our last procedure, which is getting a standard variation, which is 1.49, we just only squared our final answer for our variance, which is 2.2108. And if we squared that, our answer will be 1.48 and 68. But for our final answer, we only have 2 decimal point, and that's why we will round up also our final answer, which is 1.48 into 1.49. That's our final answer for this table. And now for our last topic, let's talk about z-score. And here's our formula. Z-score equals the score they got minus mean distribution divided by standard deviation. That's our formula. Our example for our z-score, example, nagbigay ako ng exam sa iisang section, ngunit magkaibang time. For the first examinee, which is exam 1, their mean is 80 and their standard deviation is 5. For our second examinee and for our exam 2, their mean is 70 and their standard deviation is 10. And for the exam 1, example is one student got 85, and for exam 2, one student got 85 also. And as you can see, their mean and standard deviation are totally different, but the students' scores are definitely the same. Now let's convert our example 1, which is our exam 1, into our formula. X minus mean divided by standard deviation. The score they got is 85 and our mean is 80, and also our standard deviation is 5. So 85 minus 80 divided by 5 equals to 1. And now for our second example, which is our exam 2, the score they got is 85 and also our mean is 70 and our standard deviation is 10. So if we calculate this, is 85 minus 70 equals to 15 and divided by 10 equals to 1.5. And if we differentiate these two exams, as you can see, exam 2 is much better than exam 1 and 1.5. So exam 2 is much more higher than exam 1. It's quite confusing, but let's take a look for our normal curve. And here is for our bell curve for our example 1 or exam 1. Our mean for our example 1 is 80, and the student that the score he got is 85. But what's the meaning of the shaded part and what's the meaning of 84%? It only means that 84%, or the student got 85 score, is much more higher than the rest of the 84% in the class. That's why 84% yung nakalagay dyan. Now for our last example, which is the exam 2, the mean for our exam 2, which is 70 here. And as you can see, there's 85 and that's the score that the student got. So it only means that not just one standard deviation, but 1.5 standard deviation. And if we shaded this part, and on top of that, it only means that 93% of the class is lower than the student got the 85 score in the exam.